Well, we've been talking all
Hey, Miss Kim.
week about the importance of relationships. And, whether you're in a relationship or not, the things that we're talking about are things that can benefit you no matter who you are or what stage you are in your relationship. It's really important that you learn some things before you dive into relationships. And you know what? Some of the things that we're talking about will work in relationships with your family. When you think about how those are the relationships that we really have to work on. And when what you doing? Oh, you were yawning. I'm like, what are you doing? Those are the things that we want to focus in on, and you want to make sure that you are that one that whenever you come into the room, that peace comes into the room, not chaos, and that people understand that they can walk with you in a very loving way. And so we're talking about relationships because they're important. God gave us these relationships, and these relationships are critical, really, for us to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So this is Fresh Baked Manna Live. And we come to you every morning because our desire is to build your life and your faith so that you can be the person that God has called you to be. We want you to walk in on your job empowered to impact lives and to show the world that God lives on the inside of you and He's strong in you. And so today we're talking about secrets. We're talking about how important it is in your relationships to make sure that you are honest, that you're putting all your stuff on the table. When we encourage people when we're doing counseling, we always tell them there's four things in a relationship that you got to pay attention to: sex, money, God, and kids. And there's some other things, but those are the four things that we realize that people usually end up divorcing over. And communication, obviously, is one of those other things. And so we always tell people if there's anything that can destroy your marriage, it'll fall under one of these five categories. And so realizing that it's important that we keep our eyes on those categories in our relationships. And sometimes when you come into your relationships, you can come in and you got secrets and nobody knows about those secrets but you. And I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. You're only as sick as your secrets. And if you're the only person and God is the only person that knows about what's going on with you, that has the potential to undermine any relationship that you may find yourself in. And so it's important, especially when you're in relationships where you're trying to build a life with someone, that you put all your cards out on the table. Tell about when we first got married. We came into our marriage, we had a lot of secrets.
Oh yeah, she wasn't telling me nothing.
Yeah, we had a lot of secrets, and it was because we didn't trust one another in the
Yeah,
in the initial stages of our marriage.
yeah, and again, I said this yesterday. You have to earn the right to get the full me. You don't just get it because we're in a relationship, but you got to prove to me that once I show it to you, that you're not gonna run, you're not gonna use it against me later on, you're not gonna talk about me, you're not gonna make me feel a certain way about it. Only thing I want from you is to know that okay, it's safe with me. You know, I can tell you this in relationships, especially for a man, and I've said this before. A man will give you his money, he'll give you his body, he'll give you his time. Uh, but unless he trusts you, he'll never give you his heart. And that's the piece where you have to be trustworthy to get the real individual. And but once you have his heart, you got all of it. When you tell him, you don't.
Yeah, that was a good information for me to have. When he first said that to me, it was like, oh, wow. I can give you my money, I can give you my body, I can give you my time, but I'll never give you my heart until I trust you. And so, I started thinking, okay, so what are some of the things that undermine trust? What are some of the things that would cause you not to give me, your trust or your heart? Because that's what I want. I want your heart, because if I can get your heart, sometimes if you can get a person's heart, you can sometimes overlook some of their behavior because you know their heart. Or at least even if you don't overlook their heart, you get it because it's, well, I know your heart is good, but this is what you did, so let's work through that. And so my position with him was, then you have to tell me, what is it that I need to do to get your heart? And so he started talking about it, and that what one of those things was is when I tell you things about me, don't hold it against me. And I don't want to
Mm,
have to live in it. And then every time we arguing or every time we fussing or whatever, don't hold it against me, right?
yeah, that. And while I'm telling you, I need you to have a poker face. While I'm telling you my secrets, I don't need you to be like, don't give me the faces. Because the minute I get a face, I'm shutting down.
And but that goes with anybody. You know,
Right.
when you're even when your kids come to you and your kids want to tell you, disclose their heart about something that they may be living in, and they're afraid to tell you because the expression on your face tells them if I say something, he's not going to listen, she's not going to listen, or they're going to shut me down, or I'm going to get in trouble, or something like that. And so it's you just getting a hold of yourself and learning to listen. My situation was when we first started down this road, if he would say something, I'd be like, "What?" You know, my facial expressions were all over the place. And so I had to learn to bring myself in, to contain myself, because at the end of the day, what I wanted is I wanted this problem to be solved. And so I was committed to doing whatever I needed to do to stop sabotaging what was going on. And if my facial expressions were going to stop him from talking, y'all know what I'm talking about, that non-verbal communication. You ain't said nothing, but you saying a whole lot by the way that you're responding or you're acting. And so learning to chill out, let them get it out, say what they need to say, and this takes maturity. You know, if you're used to responding in your emotions on things, and we discussed emotions for a whole week, if you're used to responding in your emotions about things, your knee jerk is going to be emotional. And so the key is learning to pull that thing in so that your emotions are not your negative emotions, because you know you have emotions and your emotions are good and some are bad, but your negative emotions then don't get the right to control what's going on because you're looking for resolution. I want this relationship to work. But if I'm going to keep you know, when you tell me something, it's like, well, you did that, you know, and then after he tells me, how am I going to act?
Yeah. You can't say, well, just say it. Just say it. Just tell me. And when I tell you it is the worst thing I've ever done, I ain't never telling you nothing else. You can't it's like the movie. You can't handle the truth.
You want the truth, you
You
can't
can't
handle
handle
the
the truth.
truth, right?
Uh, But if I see, and here's the thing. Everything in me wants to tell you because once I get it exposed, the power of it is gone. That's where secrets are most powerful is when they're kept
In the dark.
in the dark. But when they're exposed and put in the light, now you got other folks that can help you with it. You you feel like, okay, now Satan can use this against me because folk know about it. And so once I expose it to you, I don't need to feel any type of way about it other than, okay, how we gonna get through this?
Right. One of the things that I realize and the things that we're going through, and I will, you know, we'll share our testimony. I'll let Skip share his testimony. But one of the things that I realized that as we were going through the things that we were going through is he wanted to be free of the things he was going through, but he didn't know how to share those things with me because he was afraid that he was going to lose. Remember, I told you we don't talk about things because there's always that fear, that overarching, looming fear somewhere around us. And so he was afraid he was going to lose me, or that something was going to uh, happen afterwards, and so he would not share. You want to talk about that? Sorry about that, y'all.
When I there was a time when we first got married that I had an issue with internet pornography. And the thing about it is I didn't know I had the issue. And
You
I
didn't realize it was an issue.
well, yeah, that.
Right.
And and so this was a secret I was hiding. And one day, uh, Melva came up to me and she asked me about it. And
I actually walked in on it. Walked in on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and when she did, um, it devastated her, but it devastated me as well. And it devastated me because I'm like, okay, what what do I say about this?
Let me say this for those of you that may be thinking, well, it's just internet pornography. We're talking about a time where everybody did not have the internet. Now we're talking years ago.
This is back when AOL was king.
Right. This everybody didn't have a
It was,
cell phone.
it
We
was
didn't
still
have cell
dial up.
phones. We didn't have all of that stuff. And so you're talking about this season, and it was something new that the church was very silent about. You rarely heard the church talking about pornography or different things like that. And we were pillars in our church. And so here we're doing ministry and all of that. And and this is going on in his life. And so, some of you may think, well, it's just internet pornography because we've become this society and our culture is so accustomed to it today. It's such a part of the fabric of our culture today that people don't think anything about it. But it was destroying our marriage.
Right. And so what happened was when finally when it was exposed, again, it devastated her. And I think the thing that hurt the most was how it hurt her for me, because it wasn't her thing, it was my mistake.
Right. And I was taking it personal. He's going to get through it, but I was taking, and this is a problem that I feel like sometimes in our relationships we take their issue personally. And because in some instances, it does impact our life in a negative way. But what I had to do is I had to come to grips with the fact that that's his issue. You all broke down like it's your issue. You've made yourself the victim in it, and you're not the victim. He doesn't need you to be the victim right now. He needs you to be somebody that's going to help him walk through what he's going through. And so he was in a ditch, a negative ditch, and I was in a ditch too. I was in a positive ditch, but I was still in a ditch.
Yeah. And what people don't understand, like for me, what my wife didn't understand at the time was she was playing the victim, but I was the victim. I was a victim of a stronghold that had got me.
Your own behavior.
Yeah, of my own appetites, my own uncontrolled desires. I was a victim of them, and now me being a victim has caused another victim. That's where that phrase hurt people" comes in. I was hurting, so I turned around and she became a result of my hurt. And so,
But I didn't have to. That's
no,
the thing that's important. I didn't have to, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to walk through it. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want to expose him. And so I just tried to walk through this by myself. And unfortunately, because I did not go to somebody to get wisdom on it, because, people don't tell you, but a lot of people are living through the things that you're living through. And just because you don't know about it, it doesn't, mean that they're not living through it. That's why you can't be looking at somebody else's marriage and trying to model your stuff after theirs because you don't know what people are living through at any rate. But I made the decision to be victimized, and that was out of order because it didn't help our situation. It hurt it more.
yeah, and what it did is because she made the decision to be victimized, I believe it kind of uh, delayed my freedom because versus dealing with what I had to deal with,
We
also
had
deal with what I was having to deal with and deal with what she was dealing with.
Yeah, we had to deal with me. I then became the understood subject of the sentence versus us just putting all of our love and all of our focus and all our efforts on helping him get the freedom that he was trying to get. I kept playing the victim, and so all the attention started coming to me. And so he was, but I love how he walked through it. He was so kind to me in it. I'm constantly asking questions. Why did you do it? What is it that you need? Da 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 da. And what happened? And why just kept making him relive it. And God had told him whatever questions she has about it because it's violated your relationship. Answer the questions. And even when in times when he could have gotten frustrated and could have been like, you know what? I done talked to you about this already. We ain't talking about this no more. He never did that, which I really appreciate because it got us through it got us through those dark days in our
Mm.
marriage.
Yeah, I would just, if she needed to talk about it, I would rehearse it again and again, and I wouldn't go, really? No, come on now. I would rehearse it like it was the first time, and I did it because,
He would tell me what was going on, just like he told me. He may have told me what 20 times,
yeah,
20 times, and he told me again. Every time he told me,
I told her the 21st time like it was the first
like it
time,
was the first time.
and and a lot of times, and I know that every time I rehearsed it, it would set her back. It would set her back, but she wanted the truth, and at that point, I didn't feel like I had a right to withhold it. I need to be, I need to show her that I could be trusted again. So I have to be completely honest.
And you wanted to be free too.
Yeah, and it became a serious work on my mental, on my spiritual, on my discipline, and my because she would ask me, just randomly. I could be sitting downstairs. I mean, I could just be watching TV, and she'd just come up to me. What are you thinking? Um, about whether or not they're going to score this touchdown. Uh, but something in her needed to have security in where my thought pattern was going.
Right. And what I did is every time he got near a computer, I was scrutinizing him. I was
Yeah,
like, "What you looking at? Where you at? Where's your head? What are you pondering?
yeah,
Why are you in this room by yourself with this computer?
yeah.
What are you doing? What are you looking at?" And so he would have to be out in the open every time he had a computer or something like that, because these were the steps that were necessary. One, to bust up the secret, to expose the secret, and two, to get us back on track. And
To,
yes, there was a lot of work that was needed from me, but it was work that we had to do this to get back on track.
what that required for both of us was to put our big boy and big girl britches on, because she needed to know. Again, you've heard us say is, a love that is not tested is a love that cannot be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Her love was tested for me,
Right.
and because of it, because of she had every opportunity and right to leave and say, I'm not fooling with you. I'm not done with you. I mean, I'm done with you. She decided, I want to work with you and I want to work through this.
Yeah, you know that I love what somebody said. They said truth is better than a lie, even if it hurts, and that is the absolute fact of it. Even if it's painful, get the truth out there, because the thing is, my grandmother said, the truth will always outlive a lie. The thing about a lie and deception is that you always got to keep your eye on it, because you never know when it's going to surface again. And
Right.
down through the years you say it one way, but then down through the years you forget what you said, and then you saying something different. It's like, wait a minute, in 1947 you said it was green, now you saying it was blue. Yeah, that's because in 1947 I lied. And so what we have to do is make sure I'm giving you the truth. If I can give you the truth is going to set you free. It really does set people free. Now you have to make a decision whether you still want to walk with me, whether you still want to live with me after I've given you the truth. But I don't have anything else to hide. All my cards are out on the table. Do with it what you will, but here is the truth. And that's a place, it's just an absolute place of freedom. I tell my kids, two of them are not married. Three of them are not married now. But I told my kids as they were growing up, here is what you owe the person that you come into a relationship with: absolute transparency and honesty. If they can't handle it, if you seeing, I told my sons, if you seeing Sue and you seeing May at the same time, let them both know. Whether they can handle or not, that's not the issue. Tell them. Tell them both, so that if you at the movies and one rolls up on you, we ain't gonna have no issues. We ain't gonna have no drama. Because I told you I was seeing you and I was seeing her. And so I told them, I said, you have to be honest, even if it hurts. Because if you're not honest, eventually your dishonesty is gonna expose you.
Yeah. And that's you have no idea how much the Bible says that sin cries out for judgment. And what happens is, this happens often. You go into an office and you're dealing with people, and they're looking at you like, people who are in sin, and you're walking in who you are in God, and they're going, I don't like them. Why are they always judging me? And you ain't said a word, you ain't did nothing. But what's happening is that sin that's in their life is crying out, saying, help me. Stop me from doing this. I know you're the righteousness. I want to be right. Help me to stop feeling this way. Help me to stop living this way. And what was happening was, when I was in that, the righteousness in her was just judging me. Help me.
The self-righteousness.
Yeah, no. But I'm talking about in me was saying, help me. I want to tell you about this so I can stop doing this. I want to be honest with you so I can stop uh, dabbling in this. But I, I wasn't strong enough at the time to tell her. I didn't trust her enough to tell her. But it wasn't until it was exposed and I had to, I realized, and even in that, you know, I still could have been like that old movie. I mean, that old song by Shaggy. It wasn't me. I could have been. You didn't see what you thought you saw, but
you don't see anything, right? You don't see anything.
But the reality was, my spirit was like, it was waiting to exhale, and I did. I got a chance to say, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be doing this. Thank you.
Thank you for exposing it. Thank you for coming to me. That's how he was when I finally did say something to him, because I didn't say something. I found out about it like in January of September of one year, and I didn't even confront it to him until January of the following year, because when I said something, I wanted him to come with the truth. And so I was trying to be led by God. And I do believe that the Lord led me in those moments. See, that's a lesson for us too. Some of y'all, when y'all see stuff, you be right on it. You looking at his page, you looking at his phone, you looking at her, you looking at all of this stuff, and you confront right away versus, you become reactive instead of active. And it takes time to back up and ask the Lord, what do I do? How do I expose this? How do I bring this to their attention in a way, one, that they'll be honest? Because what you don't want to do is when you present an issue in a relationship and then the person lies, that drives me bananas. Don't lie to me. If you man enough to do it, if you woman enough to do it, say you did it and let's move on. But if you're gonna lie, then we can't grow. And I was looking at somebody on here, they had said something about Corey, I believe it was. Well, what do you do when you're not married? This is how you manage it. It's the same way. And so even though we're talking from a marriage context, this applies even when you're dating or when you're seeing someone. You got to make decisions. Both of you have to be on the same page about how you're going to walk through situations. But more importantly, it's how you gauge and govern yourself in the situation. You can, if you want them to be free and you sense in their heart that they want to be free, that's why you got to walk with people based on their hearts and not always by their actions, because their actions will have you stumbling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With Skip, I had to move over into a place, and it came one day when we were standing in our kitchen arguing about who was going to kill a centipede on the wall. I'm freaking out, going crazy. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. He comes in and he sees a centipede on the wall. He kills the centipede, and then he turns around to me and he said, don't you ever do that again. And it was because I scared him. I had him thinking that something bad was going on in the house, like somebody had broken in the house, and it was a centipede. And so he raised his voice at me, and I grabbed a skillet and I was like, don't you ever raise your.
She's going to beat me up, y'all.
I was going to knock him out. Don't you ever raise your voice at me.
See, y'all thought she was sweet little Pastor Melva. No, she has violent tendencies. Y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me.
Yes. Anyway.
Pray for the protection of my body.
Right, of your soul. Anyway. And so, but my intent was to knock him clean. Don't you raise your voice at me. And that one incident, this was like the first year of our marriage. That one incident, we didn't talk for almost a month. Now we married, sleeping in the same bed. We didn't talk for almost a month. No communication whatsoever. Why? over who gonna do the centipede. But what I learned as I was praying, the Lord said to me, consider this. He loves you. And for some reason, that melted my heart. And from that day, even to this, now almost 30 years later, I remember first and foremost, regardless to what he does, even when it seems like he does not, God affirmed it in my heart that Skip loves me. And because I know that Skip loves me, I'm looking at his heart more than I'm looking at his action or even hearing his word. You talking about something that takes maturity to do? That takes maturity. But so you got to ground yourself in where you are in the relationship. And if you know that each other, I'm sorry for dominating this, but I really feel passionate about this. But if you know that you love one another, then you stay committed to that love, because that's what love is. Love is a commitment. It's not an emotion. Love is God. It's a commitment. When we tell somebody, I love you, what you're saying is, I God you. I God you. I'm going to treat you the way God treats you. And what does God do? The Bible says he's merciful. He's long suffering. Before you even sinned, he's already forgiven you. That's unconditional. The chesed, the agape love of God. It's a different level of love. And some of us have not grown to that place, but you can. You can grow to that place. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Um, and there was something on there that says they can't share it.
No, they can't. For some reason, Facebook took down the watch party thing, and we don't know what's going on with
Yeah,
Facebook.
because you
I
couldn't
think it's
share your phone.
because of the election and all of that. They made a lot of changes, but that's okay. What are you gonna say?
One of the things I had to realize with, I won't say Melva, but I think it's with in relationships. Most of the time, when a person comes and asks you a question, they already know the answer to it. And so, what you're really, the test isn't whether or not um, you know what's going on. The test is whether or not you're a person of integrity, and whether or not you're going to try to keep a secret, whether or not you're going to lie your way through something. Because usually when a person comes to you with something, they done did all the investigative. This is an indictment. This ain't no investigation. This is an indictment.
Right, right. You guilty, and
Right,
we will work to prove you innocent. Right.
right, right. Because we already got the proof. Now, whether or not you want to tell your side of the story to reduce your sentence, it's up to you.
Right.
But they already know, and so that's when I realized, why lie and make my sentence longer?
Mm-hmm.
Just tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because it continues to affect the foundation of the relationship. Every lie you tell affects the relationship. I'm talking about lying about you bought them
secrets,
clothes,
secrets.
whatever you do, and you hiding it, it's gonna undermine the relationship. And all it takes sometimes is, once you tell a lie or you're dishonest the first time, it becomes progressively easier each time you do it. To do it, at first you do it, you may have this consciousness about it. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have did that, I feel bad about it. But the more you step over the line of morality in your own heart,
Right, right.
the easier it's going to become. So every time you violate your own convictions, your own values, your own morals, it becomes easier and easier to do it. And so before you realize, you just got a house full of lies. Everything is a lie. How old are you? I'm 50. I'm 57. What color are you? I'm green, but I'm really, but you just lie after lie after lie. And so it's important.
And you lie for no reason.
For no reason at all.
And now your word can't be trusted by anybody. And what you don't realize is, they may not say it to your face, but they're telling it to other people. That person
is the
biggest. Whatever they're telling you, notice the opposite of it.
Don't believe it. Don't believe it, because you don't think it. You don't realize it, that lies seep out.
Mm-hmm.
And people can tell when they're being lied to. Lying is a spirit. There's a spirit to it. And so the more you lie, the more people begin to recognize you as a liar, or somebody that doesn't walk in integrity. And so you want to dismantle that. Right. If that's you, because all of us have been guilty of it. If that's you, you want to dismantle that in your life, because it is going to be a cancer in your relationship. What time is it? Ooh,
minutes.
Ooh, we
We're done.
overtime.
We're
We
done.
overtime. Y'all, I hope this has been good to you. This is Fresh Baked Manna Live with Skip and Melva Henderson. Our goal and our mission is to build your life and your faith every single day so that you can show up in the world, as my friend Dana World Patterson says, so that all of you can show up strong and powerful, because God has called you to be an influencer, an impactor, and you want to do it in a really marvelous way. And you can do it by making sure that you're the best version of you that you can be. So we want to build your life. We want to build your faith. God bless you. Hope we said something today that's increased you. We'll be back tomorrow. Love you guys. Oh, we're going to be teaching tonight on the subject of healing. For those of you that don't have anything to do at 6:30, join us on the World Outreach Center site. Goodbye. See ya.
Have a great day, y'all.
Bye-bye.